The Box by J.C. Welch. Chapter 1. Okay, well, this is a true story that I just made up an hour ago, but it took me 5 years to write. It took me 5 months to type and another 7 months to retype because I forgot to save it. It's an old story that my grandson told me right before he was born, so if anybody has bad ears, you better cover your eyes. To make it funny, you should watch Ren and Stimpy while reading, and to make it scary, you should turn off the lights. Wait, I can't see the book. Turn the lights back on. Okay, that's better. Now, before I begin, does anybody want a Coke or something? Alright, now my butt itches, and my leg hurts. Okay, I'm alright again. I guess it was George Carlin. Where was I? Oh yeah, I haven't started the story yet. Well, here it goes. I was sitting on the couch minding my own business when my wife started yelling at me. "Get up, you lazy man," she yelled quietly, and she picked me up, but not at 8 o'clock like she promised. She threw me out of the house by my underwear. I knew I shouldn't have worn the underwear. I was still in them, and she always did hate this pair. I landed on my butt and broke out that pesky hangnail that was bothering me. I thanked her by trying to get back in the house, but she didn't say you're welcome. Instead, she dragged me out and threatened to kill me to death. Me in my only defense, I screamed in her face and ran away. I found an alley, but I couldn't bowl because I didn't have shoes on. I found another alley with a nice big cardboard box just sitting there calling to me. Actually, it was calling someone collect on the payphone. But it was enough of an invite for a guy who was only in his underwear and needed shelter. It was cold, so I crawled inside the box. There was a whole other world inside, a world of pink bunnies and dead pop stars. Justin Timberlake had been killed by a yellow polka-dotted bus and got impaled on one of those bright orange cones. Michael Jackson had gotten beaten to death by a 9-year-old boy with a pillow. Pink dyed herself pink and died. I saw a stuffed giraffe talking to a naked rabbi smoking a cigar and reading a newspaper. I walked up to him and asked him where I was. "You're in the land of Oz," the giraffe said as the scarecrow popped out of the corner and the rabbi laughed. I stood there talking to the giraffe for a while, and I told him about my wife and how she threw me out. I cried for 2 hours while he pointed and laughed at me. He left with some good advice to think about, but I never took it. "Get help," he said. We parted ways, and then I saw it. It was the ugliest, most horrible creature I'd ever seen. It was Madonna eating ice cream totally naked. Ew! I couldn't move my eyes away from this disgusting beast. I had to put a stop to this insanity. So I grabbed the lit cigar from the rabbi's mouth, burned her in her fake boob, and she blew up like an overinflated rubber woman. I flexed a powerful muscle. I felt strong like Hercules when he defeated the beasts in Greece. Then I thought about my wife, and I felt weak once again. I had to hear her voice again, so I decided to call her. I borrowed some new ripped clothing from the dead muskrat, and I worked the streets for a dime. A man with a blue pickup truck stopped after running me over twice and offered to give me a dime if I cleaned a fish with my tongue. I agreed to do it, and afterwards he gave me a dime. Actually, he gave me 5 pennies and a nickel. He couldn't afford a dime, but that was okay. I stole the rest from a blind man and his deaf-seeing eye dog. I counted out what I needed, and I found a dime. I threw the rest of the change in a rain gutter. The blind man heard that and stuck his dog on me. It hurt a lot, and it didn't help that the blind man was beating me with his cane. I dragged myself over to the payphone and called my wife. She yelled and screamed at me for 3 minutes, and in the ranting she confessed to me that she was cheating on me with my dead grandfather. I hung up the phone and cried in a corner for 14 minutes. I crawled back into the box and started thinking about her. I remembered the time that we were in a comedy club and a guy with a donkey was telling a joke about mustard. I laughed so hard that I fell through the back of my chair and broke my neck and died. Those were the good old times with my wife, and I loved every minute with her. I thought about another time we were running on stilts and I got ran over by a parked car. I had to talk to her again, so I got out of the box and called her. The weird thing was that before I could dial the number, she was already on the phone. She was swearing at me in Japanese when a girl on a pink scooter drop-kicked me in the face and stole the phone away. I cried and ran into a donut shop where it was being held up by 2 donut thieves. I think they were doing it to anger the cops, but I could have been wrong. There was raspberry jelly and powder everywhere. The tall thief was yelling at the clerk, who was on the ground shaking. "Where are the holes?" he yelled, and he kicked the clerk in the stomach. The doorbell rang as I ran through the door, and then I was in trouble. The tall thief started walking toward me, and I quickly ran behind a stack of donuts. But he grabbed me, and he threw me on the floor, and he started kicking me. And then he threw me over to the smaller thief so that he could kick me too. He couldn't walk on his own because he didn't have feet. So when he kicked me, he would hurt himself. Whoa, what a run-on sentence. How many commas did I use in that sentence anyway? After the massacre, I dragged myself by my chin to the payphone. I'm glad the girl on the scooter was gone, because I wouldn't have been able to defend myself. I grabbed the phone to call my wife for help, and the phone fell on top of me, and I died. The end. I'm just kidding, so you better make yourself comfortable, because you're going to be here for a while. You may get yourself a soda and go to the bathroom, but that's it. You have to come right back, though. I'll wait for you. Okay, you're back. I can start the story again. No more breaks. You have to stay here for the rest of the time. Ha ha ha. I came back to life as a carrot. The things a girl does with a carrot is frightening. I woke up from that wet nightmare and was staring right in the eyes of Justin Timberlake. The smell of smelly old cheese filled the air. I pushed him off of me. I realized I was back in the box, and these nuns that wore cheese suits had revived me, and Justin Timberlake was giving me mouth-to-mouth when I woke up. After washing my mouth out with mouthwash for about a month, I felt a lot better. For some weird reason, I bounced when I sat down, but then I realized the nuns had a doctor put in butt implants. It appeared that Justin Timberlake had requested that I were to get butt implants because he wanted me to be a background dancer at his concert. So I was a dancer now, which was funny because I've never learned how to dance. I had a special suit made. I wore a jacket with spikes. I was the guy they threw in if the girls got too rambunctious. It was great. It was great until one concert in Vermont when Justin was singing and I was dancing. My butt implant popped out and smacked a girl in her eye. She started crying, and let's just say I never danced again for Justin Timberlake. Now I could say that I hurt someone trying to dance, and thus me never dancing ever again. I had to give back the cool attire, though, and I was really bummed out. At least I got a job cleaning dirt shortly after, and I got paid $1.250 a month. My boss told me that was a lot of money, and with my first paycheck I bought some food. I got eggs, bacon, toast, orange juice, apple juice, root beer, candy cigarettes, candy hearts, liver, rump roast, roast beef, beef stew, chicken, turkey, Canadian bacon, pepperoni, green peppers, red peppers, onions, carrot, a girl, a romance novel, hand lotion, suntan lotion, love potion, deodorant, Banaka, mouthwash, body wash, shampoo, bubble bath, bubble gum, bubbles, a pinwheel, balloons, rubber bands, Band-Aids, Roll-Aids, Kool-Aid, popsicles, ice cream, cake mix, meow mix, kitty litter, puppy chow, a pooper scooper, a broom, a witch's hat, a Halloween mask, a Christmas tree, a New Year's baby, baby lotion, baby powder, baking powder, powdered sugar, sugar, spice, everything nice, Rice Krispies, Lucky Charms, Trix, Kix, Cheerios, corn flakes, corn syrup, maple syrup, and a pretty maple leaf puzzle that I got at the checkout line. I had to take everything back though because I couldn't afford it. Everything except the cake mix. I like cake. I put the box of cake mix in a brown paper bag and started walking to my big brown box when a nice lady at the checkout line offered to put my head in a plastic bag. I thanked her, but I didn't think I needed to carry my head in a plastic bag. I crawled into the box and put the bag with the cake mix on the kitchen table. I sat down on the couch and thought about my wife again. I was getting depressed again, so I decided to watch some TV to get happy. I was crying while I was watching a soap commercial when I heard weird noises coming from behind me. There was something moving in the brown paper bag, and at first I thought it was a mouse that had somehow gotten in the bag. There could have been a hole in the bag, but I was wrong. As I approached the bag, the box of cake mix jumped out of the bag and started chewing on my arm. "It's eating me! It's eating me!" I screamed, and I wrestled it off of me. I put it in a stranglehold, but it was an illegal hold, so I was disqualified. I let go of the hold and ran into the kitchen. I needed a weapon, but all I could find was a plastic spork. It was the only eating utensil I had, and I ate every meal with it, including toast. I stabbed it with the spork, and then I stabbed it with the spork. I stabbed it with the spork until it laid motionless on the kitchen floor. I felt good. I felt like a real man. So I did what a real man did after killing a box of cake mix, and that was watch some TV. I then farted and scratched myself until I passed out on the couch. I woke up to the sound of the oven timer going off, and there was the smell of chocolate in the air. I don't remember making anything, but whatever it is smells pretty good, I said with a grin on my face. I walked over to the oven, and a big chocolate cake monster popped out. Apparently the box of cake mix put itself in the oven and baked itself. The thing was huge, and it smelled done. I was hungry, but the cake looked hungrier. I was in trouble. The cake monster grabbed me with its tongue. It didn't have any arms, because all cake monsters don't have arms. I struggled to break free. It wasn't going to be breakfast time for me. As the monster pulled me into its mouth, I let out one final scream. With a great big swallow, the cake ate me whole, and I died within the bowels of it. Ah! I screamed when I woke up. I was in bed with my wife, and she was sleeping soundly, totally unaware that I was screaming like usual. I realized that I was dreaming the whole time. The box, the dead pop stars, the pink bunnies, the stuffed giraffe, the naked rabbi, the nuns wearing cheese suits, and the cake monster were just a dream. I was a little bit disappointed, but I put my arm around my wife and fell asleep. The next morning I woke up and my wife left me a note to go shopping. Typical of her, she was never there when I woke up. She needed tampons, of course, and I got in my car and drove to the store. I went into the female hygiene product aisle of the store, and I didn't realize how many different kinds of tampons there were. Oh great, she didn't tell me what kind, I said, and I just grabbed a box that I thought looked familiar. I got up to the cashier, and she looked really familiar. I knew I saw her somewhere, but I couldn't point it out. She was pointing and laughing, though. She must have had a chronic laughing disorder or something. After ringing up my wife's tampons, she put it in a plastic bag. She gave me a paper bag to put over my face because she must have saw the huge pimple I had on my nose. She was so nice, and yet so familiar. She waved goodbye while laughing when I left the store. I could hear her all the way to the car. As I was getting into the car, I saw something that caught my eye. There was an alley right next to the store, and right there in the alley was the box. I had to get a closer look, so I put the tampons in the car and walked over to the box. It looked exactly like the box in my dream, but it couldn't be. I knew I was going to feel stupid doing it, but I had to make sure. I crawled inside the box, and everything started to become clear. The lady in the store was the same lady in my dream, too, and the box was the same box, too. The pink bunnies were hopping around, and the dead pop stars were still singing off-key. All of a sudden, the box came to life and spit me out. I must have tasted terrible or something. I hit the ground hard, and my vision was all blurry. It looked like the box was wearing a pink tutu and a name tag that said, "Hello, my name is Augie." He started to sing a song that I wrote in the 6th grade, and dancing like a happy clown. Once upon a time, I saw a dime. I picked it up, it was covered in slime. Then one day, I had to pay for the telephone bill in the month of May. When I saw the dime, I took off the slime and paid the bill in run-on time. He sang it over and over. My ears began to bleed, and he kept singing. I couldn't take it anymore. I started throwing stuff at it. The stuff just bounced off of him, and he just kept singing. I screamed, and I grabbed the piano that was in my back pocket. I dropped it off the top of the store, and the singing stopped. Then I heard a crunching sound, and I thought the box was eating a crunch bar. I was wrong. It was the sound of the box being crushed underneath the piano. I didn't expect to crush the box, but what else was it supposed to do? I just wanted the song to end, but I think I killed the box. I went down to take a look, and it was a messy sight. I rolled the piano off the box, and I took a look at his name tag. It now said, "Hell, my name is Oi," which is what the box said right before it got crushed by the piano. I think the box was Jewish, a big, Jewish, dancing box named Augie wearing a pink tutu. Congratulations on getting through this chapter. Thanks for watching. Give me a like or a subscribe or a comment down below on how you like my story so far. Again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.